Thank you very much. Much has been said this morning, and it's very difficult to improvise on this topic when we've heard all these many speakers talk about women's empowerment. Let me first start with a confidence. I was a G20 Sherpa for 6 years. And I saw the B20 being born, the L20 being born, the Y20 being born, the think tank 20 being born, but it wasn't possible to see the W20 be born. So what I want is a big applause to Kagider, to Kadem, to Tikat, and to Aise for having managed to get this done under the Turkish presidency. I can tell you it is not a small thing. When it comes to women's empowerment issues, I'm very passionate about making sure we not only make this a moral issue, which it is. We certainly don't want to make this a charity issue, which it is not. But we want and we need to make this an economic issue, which it is. It is a big economic issue. Let me give you 2 reasons why we in the International Trade Center, we think this is a big economic issue. One, we know that when we put revenues in the hands of women, 90% of these revenues go to the families and to the communities where these women are, compared to 40% in the case of men. Just in case you think I'm pulling the rug in my direction, these figures come from the World Bank research. So if we are to reduce poverty and actually to eliminate it by 2030, as we want to do, it is very clear that making sure we put money in the hands of women is a very effective tool to do that. This is why the post-2015 development agenda, the sustainable agenda, has this gender dimension at the core of it. But also, if we close the gender gap, it would be the equivalent to adding a new China or a new India to the world economy. It's the 1 billion women economy. So again, when we are asked, when we have to make the case, let's make sure we make a very strong economic case, because this is what this discussion is also about. I just came back from Sao Paulo in Brazil, where the International Trade Center hosted one of its flagship events, the Women Vendors Forum, with a strong presence from Kagider. It's a forum that we have created to connect women entrepreneurs to markets. Actually, this is one of the missions of the International Trade Center: connect women entrepreneurs to markets, connect SMEs to markets. Now, SMEs and women entrepreneurs go hand in hand. Over 90% of businesses anywhere in the world are micro, small, and medium companies. And close to 40% of these SMEs are women-owned SMEs. So by working on the empowerment of small and medium enterprises, and I'm very glad that the G20 presidency of Turkey is putting these 2 themes next to each other, because they go hand in hand. When we do that, we work for inclusive growth. We know that SMEs that trade, they are more productive, they are more profitable, and they employ more. Now, we also know that women-owned small and medium enterprises tend to be smaller, and as a result, tend to be less connected with international markets. Actually, too many of these women-owned enterprises are still in the informal sector. This is why we have, and I'm very glad that the W20 has put this dimension of women entrepreneurship at the center, at the heart of this agenda. In Sao Paulo, we adopted a call for action. The 500 companies, governments, and actors present there adopted a call for action. This call for action wants 1 million women-owned small and medium enterprises connected to markets by 2020. 1 million women SMEs connected to markets by 2020. And we need everybody to work to achieve this objective. We need big multinationals, we need small companies, we need governments, we need academia, we need women-owned businesses. Next to this call for action, we looked at 8 things we need to fix. Now, we heard from Christine Lagarde that it's not just about sweet words, it's about going into the details. So I am going to go into these 8 details and put this to you in the hope that the W20 would embrace these ideas moving forward to articulate this initiative that we are launching today. One is about data collection. Sheryl Sandberg says, and I love her quote, "What you don't know, you do not care. But once you know, you cannot but care." So we need to know, we need good data. 2, we need to ensure this data is analyzed and disseminated. 3, we need to make sure trade policies are supportive of women's inclusion in the economy. 4, we need greater corporate procurement from women. We need supplier diversity. 5, we need government procurement that is more sensitive to gender. 6, we need women companies that are certified as good suppliers. 7, we need to tackle supply-side constraints. 8, and final, we need to work on financial inclusion and on ownership rights. This is the agenda that we have put together. This is the agenda that we offer you, that we suggest, that we propose, that we think we can work on together in order to advance women's inclusion into the economy. Let me touch on 2 final points which I think is important for us to look at. One is government procurement. It's a market of over $10 trillion every year. Over 10 trillion, it's many zeros after the 1. 10 trillion plus every year. An estimated less than 1% of this market is today supplied by women-owned companies. Let's imagine we could move the needle from 1 to 1.5 or to 2%. It would make a huge change. We want to make sure that an initiative we launched last year to ensure public procurement is more gender sensitive, is adopted by as many countries and governments around the world as possible. Again, it's a very easy, fiscally responsible means to support women's economic empowerment. 2 is about supplier diversity, making sure women SMEs supply to corporations. This is why we created a global platform connecting women vendors with potential buyers. This is an event we do once a year. This year we did it in São Paulo. I am very pleased that next year we will bring this event here to Turkey under the leadership of the many women businesses in this country. But we can't just simply leave this to a one-off occasion. This is why this year we launched a technology challenge. We ask young engineers, developers around the world to develop for us an app that will help businesses connect with companies. And guess what? The winner of this tech challenge was a young Kenyan entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur, which shows that women are also in technology and not confined to certain segments of the economy. We promise to make sure this app is up and running to help women businesses connect with buyers by the end of the year, and we hope to populate it with as many Turkish companies as possible. There is plenty of opportunities, there is plenty of talent, and the economy is big here, so let's make sure that this contributes to this, our goal of empowering women economically. Finally, this is more a suggestion for the G20 Sherpas in the room. I am sure that in Antalya, the big question that will come is, what can we do to lift the long-term growth potential of the G20 economies? Well, today we must give already the G20 Sherpas the answer. Invest in women's economic empowerment, and through that you will lift the potential of G20 economies. Thank you very much, good luck, and count on our support.